Welcome to the Great Alaskan Outdoors, and today we're going to talk about, well, the importance of data. So I decided to spruce it up a little with some flowers and whatever that is. So let's get going. Honestly, it'll be way more fun than you think. Okay, so as I do consults with people, I often find that they don't actually have any data on their lead flow. And so where this is a huge problem is it holds them back from making choices. So people will come and ask me like, hey, can we, what are the risks of changing this up? Or what are the risks of changing this over to this? Or what happens if we do X, Y, or Z? I'm like, I don't know, because you haven't been tracking anything. So how can we make good choices? And so what I want to do is talk a little bit about why the data is important from a marketing perspective, but also purely from a business perspective. All right. So first of all, when you make choices in your business, it's very, very easy to fall into the trap of emotional decision making. I do this if I don't have data, and just about every business owner out there has struggled with it at some point, and they've learned that they need better data on elements of their business before they make big decisions. When it comes to marketing, it's so easy to get some data. Now, the data isn't always going to be perfect. Sometimes it'll just be outright wrong, but at least you've got something to look at. And then you can start making your assumptions about the data. You never want to trust data like straight out of the gate, because with marketing data, you'll find that things are squishy. But good example of this is websites. Sometimes people come to me and they're like, hey, I want to use you guys for a website. And I'm like, okay, cool. Your website looks very robust. Why do you want to come over? I'm like, well, because my SEO is terrible. Okay, why do you think your SEO is bad? Do you have keyword ranking in place? No, we don't. Okay, do you know what your call flow out of your website is? Not really. Do you know what your call flow is out of your Google business listing? Well, I could look that up. And some people don't even know they could look it up. But so there's a lot of what ifs. Because sometimes people will jump ship from one service at one company to another because they feel like it'll be better. And sometimes like they're looking at us as the beneficiary of that work. But I have to double back and be like, hey, maybe we should look at this a little bit deeper before we make this choice. Because there's two things at play. There's the service that they're getting out of their current provider, and then there's the actual results they're getting out of their current provider, and the two sometimes don't match up. Might be good results, bad service, or bad service with good results. Wait, hold on, swap those around. It might be bad results with good service. And so what I want to do is make sure that you're thinking about these risks before you dive in too deep. So things in an example in this case about website is all you would have to do is pop in call tracking onto the website and then keyword tracking, do it offsite using a program like Ahrefs or Bright Local. And then you would have just about all the data you need in order to make a good guess on that. And the hard part is it can sometimes take months for you to build up enough data to start making decisions like this. And people come to me when I tell them, no, you got to start with new data. So start somewhere, and then we'll go from there. And so it might be, talk to me in 3 months, depending on the situation. So now let's talk about what to track, because it gets a little squishy out there for some people. So things you want to track. You first, know your lead totals, right? Leads, not closed jobs. Know how many inquiries you get. And then you want to know what sources those leads came from. And then you're going to want to know the close rate on those sources per platform as well. So the percentage is there. And then if you can, double back into your CRM and take a look at the revenue driven from those sources. All the data is there. And sometimes all you got to do is spend the time with some like a bottle of wine and some spreadsheets. Honestly, I would highly recommend figuring out where the data is, handing it to people who love data if you are not a data person. I myself don't like making the data. I like finding the data and finding the the solution to the data, but then I like saying, okay, cool, little Timmy over here, you can go ahead and comb through my spreadsheets and figure it out for me, please. And then I come back and I go, awesome, now I can tally this up and create graphs and whatnot, and that way I have a visual representation of what I need out of my own business. You can do the exact same thing. So let's now talk about the tools that will allow you to track data. So first thing to think of is call tracking for plumbers, of course, because you're all looking for the calls, but you've got other lead sources as well. So when it comes to the calls, here's what you're gonna, here's some good tools for it. And actually, CallRail is one of my top recommended tools because it's so easy to set up and they have a decent support system, but they can track chat widgets, they can track forms, they have kind of like a light CRM on their end, they can do call recording, and of course they can track calls, they can put these into sources, and so you can have a much clearer idea of where your leads are coming from. Is it going to be every single lead? Is it going to show you every single influence? No, but it will show you a rough idea of how your business is reacting into the market or how the market is reacting to your business. If you see a whole bunch of calls coming out of your website versus your Google business listing and all the traffic is Google paid versus Google organic, it'll give you an idea of, okay, are people seeking me out and knowing me, or are people coming to me fresh because I paid for that traffic? So, and then you can start making choices about each of those platforms, whether or not you like your current provider or don't like your current provider, or what their results are compared to your results, all that stuff. So now, CallRail is one, and they do that. What Converts is another, a little bit more advanced, but they will also track certain chat widgets and things along those lines. And then lastly, you've got High Level. High Level is really a very robust and complex system. Unless you're half a programmer in your head, I don't know if I would recommend it. We use it at the agency, but it's very, very flexible, but that also means it's going to have a lot of complexity. All right, so let's recap. Number one, tracking data is important. Tracking data for your business with a CRM like House Call Pro, Service Titan, Jobber, Sarah, all these track data to some point. But you might have to employ some like offshore data of some sort, like CallRail and House Call Pro. House Call Pro, I think, has their own tracking now. You try that if that works. But just know what's there. And the other thing is, data is never perfect. Data, you got two big issues with data, especially in the digital marketing zone, is you will find that the numbers have a little bit of squishiness between one side of reporting and another. You'll get this many clicks, but only this many page views. You'll get this many page views, but only this many conversions, right? You have realms of loss. And so knowing those is pretty important because it can help you make decisions. Is the traffic the problem, or is the landing page the problem, right? And then another one is just recapping that if you have data, you can make safe decisions. So I talked a lot about CallRail, by the way. I forgot one major source, Google Analytics. Google Analytics will tell you a lot about what's going on your website. If you do not know your website analytics, absolutely take a look at them. At the very least, you should know where the traffic is coming from and how much traffic you're getting. So that way, if you're looking at, switching up your website, you can take a step back and go, would this be a good choice for my business right now? And how much risk is here? Because that's going to help you vet the vendors and the contractors that you put that risk in the hands of. So those are some of my cautionary tales around lead tracking and data. Highly recommend it. So if you want to talk further about this, hit me up on my website, tylerwilliams.net, and you can schedule a consult with me or someone on my team, and we'll let you know what we think, which all comes out of my brain, really. And if you're interested in services, we talk about that too. But you have a good one, and thanks for listening.